We are back with week 5 in the NFL. Let's talk some pigskin. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back in to another episode for Just a Bet Outside. I am your host, Steven. We are back to talk week 5 in the NFL. That's right. We had a crazy Thursday night football game. Talk about that in just a little bit. We went 1-1, completely broke even. But like I mentioned, we will go over the details of that. But last video I mentioned I'm going to give one free month to 2 different people. I lied to you. I'm sorry. I'm going to give it away to 3 people. That's right. You guys have been awesome. So here we go. Congrats to at CyGains1090, at Chris Parrish 9679, and at OSEG12. Sorry if I mispronounced any of those. Reach out to me on X or Discord to get that outlier, get that free month before week 5 starts. And if you don't know anything about Outlier, guys, you guys know the drill. It is one of the best tools you can have for if you want to be a long-term winner in sports betting. One-stop shop for all your research help. We're going to be releasing a video here pretty soon to kind of do a little tutorial and kind of go over everything and what it has to offer. But anyways, congrats to you 3. Now, quick reminder, I'm going to be on the Kyle Kerm show again Sunday before kickoff. It's going to be 11 a.m. Eastern. We're going to go through every single game, break it down, talk some football. So I appreciate everyone who always comes in and supports. If you haven't already and you got some time, come join. It's a lot of fun. So before we get into all the football talk, we got to mention our partner, Betanysports. You guys know all about it. You can sign up now by using the link or the QR code to get that 30% cash bonus by signing up right now. Just a ton to offer on this website, guys. I've told you this before. Free league live streams. That's right, not just football or basketball. You get all different sports. You can live stream it when you become a member. Reduced juice lines. Obviously, they have all the odds for sports betting as well. Top online casinos if you want to go play some bets. And then, hey, let's go play some blackjack, roulette, slots, much more. Lotto platform. And, of course, you can bet on the horsies, which I absolutely love to do. So, anyways, that's what you get with Betanysports. Go sign up now while you can have that 30% cash bonus. But I'm ready to get into it. I mean, I got a lot of football to talk about. I got some best bets. So I'm going to start with some fun facts. I'm going to start with 2, actually. I just felt like it. So here we go. 2 quick ones. In 2022, the Texans were outgained by the Steelers 422 to 47. Yet the Texans won 24-6. You got to look that up. That doesn't even make sense. 24 points on 47 yards. That's insane. In 2018, the Cleveland Browns started 0-1. At that time, that was their best start to a season in 14 years. That's brutal. Sorry, guys. I know. Make fun of me. I'm a Mariners fan. In this video, though, we're going to recap Thursday night, and then we're going to go over those Week 5 trends. They went 6-9 last week. We'll go over all the new ones again this weekend, and then I'll give you my 3 best bets. That trends parlay, and then I'm going to give you a couple sides I like, because like I mentioned, I'm going to go a couple weeks without betting a side. It's just been absolutely nuts in the NFL. But I'll still give you a few sides that I like that aren't official, and then we'll wrap it all up with the recap. So hit that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Help this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We are very, very close to 29,000 subscribers. I literally cannot thank you guys enough. I appreciate all the comments, all the likes every single day. Let's get into it, and it starts with the recap. It was a 1-1 night, 0.00 units. That's right. We completely broke even. Chase McLaughlin of 1.5 field goals. I think he hit 3. Like I mentioned in that video yesterday, I wanted to go a unit on him. I wish I did. And then Chris Godwin over 6.5 receptions. I'm going to be honest, guys. It wasn't because Chris Godwin sucked or anything like that. Like, Baker Mayfield only threw it 23 times. Like, the game script just had where the Bucs were able to run all over the Falcons, and the Bucs don't usually run all over anyone. Baker Mayfield, the 2 games before tonight, threw it 80 times combined. That's right. He averaged 40 pass attempts. Today, only 23. It's game script. It's the NFL. Why would they throw it a lot when they're running all over Atlanta? So I get it. It happens. We split on Thursday Night Football, and we move on. So there's the overall season record. And, of course, every Sunday night after all the games, we will break down all the bets and give you our breakdown of player props, game bets, and how we've done this year in every single category. So let's get into it. And that means it's time for the Week 5 trends. All right, we got 2 pages of trends again for you. Let's get into it. Vikings 4-0 straight up and against the spread this season on the first quarter line, the first half line, and the full game line. That is just silly. The Browns gone under their team total in every game this season. The team total this weekend, 20.5. Bengals have gone over in the, not team total, but over in the game in 8 of the last 10. 6 of the last 7 meetings versus Baltimore have gone over. The line here is 49 points. Colts 1-8 against the spread in their last nine games versus Jacksonville, and 0-8 against the spread last 8 in Jacksonville. That's terrible. Jacksonville -2.5, 0-4 Jacksonville. Bears won 7 straight games at home. That's pretty simple. Bills have gone under at 14 of the last 18 road games. We have a 47.5 line here in Houston. Arizona San Fran combined 6-2 to the over this season. Total on that one is pretty high, 49.5. Broncos have covered the first quarter spread in 18 of the last 23. I feel like we've talked about that every single week. Denver -0.5 point in the first quarter. Packers over in 10 of the last 13 games. Rams over in 9 of the last 12. Total on that one is a high 49 points. Giants under in all 4 games this year. 43.5 is the total there. And then only 3 of the Steelers' last 22 games have gone over 44 points. And Dallas also has gone under 44 in 10 of its last 15 road games. The total is right at 44. Totals of 50 or more this year are 4-0 to the under. That's right. So if you see a total of 50 or higher, every single time this year they have gone under by 13.6 points per game. Over the last 2 seasons, 50 and over point totals are 16-4 to the under, 34-14 to the under in the last 3 years. That is just absolutely insane. You think you're going to get a ton of points, it's at 50, and most of them go under. So that's page 1. Take a screenshot. Let's check out page 2 now. Now, these are just more info, not really counting towards official trends records. It's just random things I find that I want to share because I just like doing this. That's all. Underdog, 6+ points. We talk about this every week. Now 9-8 straight up. That is insane. To be an underdog of 6 or more points and you've won 9 of 17 games. 14-2-1 against the spread. 87.5% through 4 weeks. It is the best season through 4 weeks for 6+ point underdogs since 1960. Oh, I remember that year. That was absolutely nuts. 3-14 straight up last year. That's just crazy what they're doing so far this year. Only 15 quarterbacks have thrown for 300+ passing yards. The league has completely changed this year. It is wild. Those quarterbacks that have done it, all 15, 6-9 straight up, 3-11-1 ATS. So throwing for a ton of yards does not mean a win. In the 45 international games, we have the Jets and Vikings International in London this weekend. In those 45 international, the unders 24-21. The favorites are 34-10 straight up and 30-15 against the spread for the favorites. Trevor Lawrence 5-1 ATS versus the Colts in his career. Random. That just want to share. Texans and Dolphins are the 2 teams left without an against the spread cover. That's right. They are winless against the spread. Broncos have lost 8 straight games versus the Vegas Raiders and 6 straight against the spread versus them. The betting public, which we like to talk about every single weekend, that's where there's 51% or more of the tickets on that game or on that side, is now 22-38-2 against the spread. That is the worst the betting public has started in the last 20 years. And then Lamar Jackson, how about 24-5 against the spread as a favorite of 3 or less? That is ridiculous. There's the trends record from last year. There's the trends record so far this year. Hopefully they pick up a little bit. I always mention, guys, you don't make a bet just because of this. Well, except for our trends parlay, but that's just to have some fun as well. But this is just a part of your handicap, in my opinion. Or at least it should be. So those are the week 5 trends. And now it is time for the best bets. This first one takes us out to Los Angeles, where the Rams host the Green Bay Cheeseheads. Packers -3. Total in this game is 49. I didn't mean to today, guys, but you're going to see some team totals. And this first one is maybe my favorite one of the weekend. Give me the Packers team total over 24.5 points at -125 on DraftKings, a 1-unit play. Jordan Love returned last week, if you don't know, to face a top 3 Vikings defense. They were rusty in the first half, and then they went absolutely bonkers in the second half. They still hung 29 points on 465 yards to lose by 2 points, and that was against the Vikings defense, which we know has been absolutely dominant so far this year. Love, if you don't know, and the Packers are going to spread the ball around. No Christian Watson, still out with an injury. They had 139 yards to Jaden Reed, 78 to Wicks, who really stepped up in his absence, 53 to Kraft. You never know what game, who's going to step up and all that. So LaFleur, reminds me of Dodgeball. I think there's a character there. Has proven to be one of the best coaches in the NFL. What he did with Malik Willis was absolutely nuts. They scored 30 points with Malik Willis versus the Titans. Packers have now scored 29 or more points in 3 of 4 games this season, and they get one of the dreamiest matchups in the NFL. Rams defense. They are allowing 6.36 yards per play on defense. That is dead last in the NFL. Allowing 165.5 rush yards per game, dead last in the NFL. 6 highest yards per carry allowed, and 5 yards per carry. 6 highest yards per carry allowed, and that's at 5 yards per carry. It just has not been pretty. And then the Rams' red zone defense, not good at all. Allowing opponents to score touchdowns 60% of the red zone trips. I can't talk today. And it's just not good because they're also allowing the 5th most red zone trips to their opponent. They struggle on third downs. Like, guys, these are key defensive metrics. Third downs, red zone. How can you stop the run? They are terrible at every single one of them. They are allowing their opponents to convert on 50% of third downs. That is third worst in the NFL. They also have the 8th lowest pressure rate. I don't know what they're doing right at all. Like, they can't get pressure, can't stop the run, can't stop them at any moment in critical moments. Getting pressured only 18.9% so far of the quarterback dropbacks. This defense just absolutely blows. They just allowed 24 to the Bears. And that's pretty much like allowing 50 to everyone else, I think. But the Packers, I think, are going to have their way. Jordan Love should have all the time in the world to find his receivers. I think they're going to be able to run the ball well in this one. Jacobs is averaging 4.6 yards per carry this season. You know, when they run the ball well, they're very hard to stop. It's going to open up the pass game. And Love, like I said, I think he's going to have another great game. I think he got the rust off last week, really going to carry that momentum from the second half. And then this secondary is not good for the Rams at all either. And I think the Packers are going to make them pay. So give me the Packers team total over 24.5 in what I think might be a neutral environment, because Packers fans, they travel well, and we know LA Rams fans, they're not extremely loyal. They're not usually filling that stadium. So give me the Packers team total, first best bet. All right, this second one takes us out to Denver, Colorado, where the Broncos host the Las Vegas Raiders. What a game to watch. Broncos minus 2.5. Total in this game is 35.5. You saw the trends. Raiders have absolutely owned them recently. That doesn't really mean anything for my bet. This is going to get ugly. I'm sorry. This is stinky. It's ugly. It's everything. Raiders team total under 16.5. It's not pretty. We're going to be stressing out the whole game. That's just all it is. Minus 108 on DraftKings is the 1-unit play. Now, I know it's scary, but let's talk about this one for a second. The Broncos have now held 3 straight opponents under this 16.5 line. They gave up 13 to the Steelers, 7 to the Buccaneers on the road. That's how elite this defense is. This same Bucs team that just lit up the Eagles, lit up the Falcons, they held them to 7. 9 to the Jets last week on the road. I don't care if it was bad weather or not. They absolutely dominated the Jets. I don't see how the Raiders score. I just flat out don't. This is why these kind of bets can get scary under low team totals. If there's like a muffed punt or a scoop and score fumble or a pick six, it kills it, because that's 7 of the 17 points that team needs already. So all we have to do is hope that Bo Nix and these guys take care of the ball and don't just give stupid turnovers. But the Raiders offense, let's talk about it. Averaging 19.5 points per game, 20th in total yards per game. They have been horrendous running the ball. I know, because I have Zamir White in fantasy teams, and he's been terrible. 30th in the league with 76.3 yards per game. 4th lowest yards per attempt. 3.6 yards per carry. Passing offense has been their only way they can move it, and it's still just been average. But that's not going to happen against Denver. We've talked about this. This pass defense is so freaking elite, and maybe I'm just buying into what I've seen in the last few weeks. But man, is it good. We'll talk about more on that a little bit. But how about this injury? No Devontae Adams. Guys, we're talking their best weapon is going to be their rookie tight end, Brock Bowers. Offensive tackle, Munford, out more than likely. Left tackle, Colton Miller, questionable with multiple injuries. Starting running back, Zamir White, questionable. Missing 2 offensive linemen and their number 1 receiver. That's not going to be pretty at all against this kind of defense. So last week without Adams versus Cleveland, they had 268 total yards, scored 20 points. Minshew struggled to throw the ball versus a good defense. This is going to be an even tougher matchup. But that was at home, and there are only 2 road games this year, 10 versus the Chargers, and then you remember that crazy comeback where they scored 26 against the Ravens, but they only had 13 going to the fourth quarter. Ravens had turnovers to help them get back in and win the game and score easily. So now they're facing a Broncos defense. Let's talk about it. I mentioned elite. Have I mentioned that word yet before? That's what they've been so far, especially versus the pass. They are allowing the 3rd fewest pass yards per game, 146. They have the 5th highest pressure rate on the quarterback. Obviously, they go hand in hand. You have great secondary pieces, but they also become better when you can get pressure on the quarterback. They have the 2nd most sacks in the league. They have the best DB in the entire National Football League in Patrick Surtain. He's locked up number 1 wide receivers all season long. We talked about it last week. That's why we took Garrett Wilson's under. He went under again. Before Garrett Wilson, he had held every single number 1 receiver to 29 yards or less. It's just absolutely insane. I don't even know who the Raiders' number 1 receiver is, because they're not very good at all. It's Brock Bowers, I guess, the tight end. But the run defense also, it's no longer a weakness. They're not as elite defending the run, but they just held Breece Hall to 10 carries for 4 yards. I didn't say that backwards. 10 carries for 4 yards. And then they did give up one 32-yard run to Bucky Irving earlier this year. But in that game, after you take that away, they held Bucky and Rachaad White to 14 carries for 55 yards. They held Najee Harris to 69 yards. I mean, guys, they're pretty decent at running at stopping the run. And to be honest with you, this Raiders team can't run at all. This can be one of their easiest matchups on that. I cannot see how they get to 17 points. You could take under 17 and a half because 17 is a key number, obviously. It was like minus 140, just a little too juicy for me. So, elite secondary, elite pass rush, and a terrible offense. The Raiders are an absolute mess right now. Give me their under 16 and a half team total, and let's have the Broncos do it for a fourth straight time. That is my second best bet. All right, this third bet takes us out to Cincinnati, Ohio, where the Bengals host the Baltimore Ravens. By the way, the Cincinnati Reds just hired Terry Francona as manager. Just saw that before I recorded. Ravens minus 2.5. Total in this game is 49. It's kind of a team total bet, but it's both of them. Give me both teams to score 20 or more points at minus 125 on DraftKings for one unit. I like everything points in this game. I like the over in the full game. I like the Bengals team total over, which I almost took at 23.5. But I like this one. This is kind of a safe bet. And you're still getting great odds at minus 125. So current team totals, Bengals, like I said, 23.5. Ravens are at 24.5. I'm pretty much just taking these both down to 19.5 and taking the over. But obviously you can find that in most sports books, both teams to score X points, and that's where you find this one. But let's talk about it a little bit. Ravens offense, the number one rushing attack in the NFL, averaging 26.5 points per game. They are 7th in third down percentage. The combo of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson is really working right now, making it very difficult for opposing defenses. As you saw in that Buffalo game last week, they ran all over him. But Lamar has had some big games against Cincy in his career as well. Ravens have scored 20-plus points in all 4 games, and they've actually scored 23 or more points in every game if Isaiah Likely's toe was in bounds in week 1. And now they face a Bengals defense. My goodness. Been one of the worst run defenses in the NFL all season long. 145.5 rush yards per game allowed. They're about average in yards per attempt allowed at least. They are really missing DJ Reader. I mean, he was such a great run stuffer on that D-line, no longer with him. They're struggling to get pressure on the quarterback. They've given up 20 or more points in 3 of the 4 games this season. The only one that didn't was 16 points to the Patriots. That doesn't count. They're a high school team. And the Bengals offense, let's talk about them. The Bengals rely on moving the ball through the air. We know that. That's where the Ravens struggle. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but they have been lights out through the last 3 weeks. Burrow has thrown for 258, 324, and 232 the last 3 weeks. Having Higgins back actually obviously helps, not actually. It opened up things for Jamar Chase as he's had some big games. Now, the Bengals can't run the ball very well. Does that really matter in this matchup? I don't think so, because guess who else can't run the ball against the Ravens? Pretty much everybody. So it doesn't matter. Their strength is going up against the Ravens' weakness in that secondary. And you've seen Burrow have some big games against this Ravens team. But the Ravens defense, like I mentioned, elite versus the run. Bottom 10 pass defense. A few reasons why: not generating as much pressure as we're used to seeing them. They're average in league at around 25%. Cincy's O-line has done a really good job of protecting and pass blocking at least. I think Burrow's going to have plenty of time here to pick apart this defense in there with his elite receivers that he has. Secondary, obviously not very good as well. The Ravens did let Gardner Minshew throw for 276 yards, Dak for 379, Mahomes for 291. In this type of NFL that is this year, those are a ton of yards, that's for sure. But in summary, just to kind of wrap it up, Burrow should have plenty of time. He should be able to pick apart, use that passing offense, which is one of the best in the NFL, in my opinion. Obviously, they can't run the ball. And then the Ravens, speaking of running, should be able to run all over Cincy. I see points, and more points in this game. In the 2 matchups last year, both teams scored 20 or more points in both games. The total is 49 for a reason. Give me the offenses to just light up the scoreboard. Hopefully, we can cash this one early. So both teams to score 20 or more points is my third best bet. And before we get to that trends parlay, we got to mention Bet365. All right, I can't reiterate enough how important it is to have multiple sports books, especially in the NFL. When you have a 2.5 line on one book and then 3 on another, you want to get the best value, the best odds. And if you're in a state that has Bet365, now is the time, guys. Click the link below in the description. Sign up. All you have to do is deposit $10 and then place a bet for $5. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. You are going to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I mean, it happens very quickly. So go sign up now. It is a great promo, and it does not last forever. So, of course, you must be 21 years or older to gamble. If you have a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, back to the bets. All right, it's time now for that trends parlay. 0-3 so far this year. Again, these are a quarter unit. We just have some fun with it, not official. But we take three trends and we put them together. The three that we like the most. So here we go. Plus 454. We got the Bears money line under 47.5 Bills and Texans, and the under 43.5 in the Seahawks Giants. Let's talk Bears money line first. The trend we're tailing on this one, well, simple. The Bears have won 7 straight home games, but analysis on this, they're playing the Panthers. This could be the breakout game for the offense finally. And when I say breakout, I don't mean just absolutely dominate because I don't think they're capable of that right now. The Panthers defense is just atrocious. Dalton is an upgrade, obviously. He's been a huge help for them, but he also just went up against the Raiders and the Bengals defenses, and now he faces the Bears defense. Totally different animal. I think the Bears get the job done at home. Kind of one of the safer legs just to win on the money line. Second one, under 47.5 Bills Texans. The trend in this one, Bills have gone under in 14 of the last 18 road games. I'm going to talk more about this in the next segment when we talk spreads that I like. But Texans just don't look right right now. They can't run the ball. Stroud is not able to get those big splash plays. If you remember in his rookie season, they were getting big play after big play to Nico Collins, Tank Dell, all this. They're not getting many splash plays, and Buffalo's been known to play some too high safety, not allow people to beat you deep. So they're going to have to dink and dunk and all that. And then Buffalo themselves, they're used to, or they're known for really chewing that clock with long drives and everything. So I think this clock's going to be ticking, and we're not going to get a ton of points. I think we're going to get some field goals in this game, and maybe no Shakir, number one receiver for the Bills. So everything about this game just kind of points under, and then we're going to go with that trend. So the third one, under 43.5 in my Seahawks Giants game. The trend, Giants have gone under in all 4 games this season. If you don't know, Malik Neighbors is unlikely to play. Concussion. That's absolutely humongous. He had a 50% target share. He was the only guy that could consistently get open and make plays. That's a humongous loss for them. I know it's only one receiver, but when it's a guy like him on this offense, it's huge. I think the Seahawks kind of a sleepy spot for them after a huge Monday night game, a big old shootout with the Lions, and now they come home to play the Giants. The Hawks could struggle a little bit with that Giants pass rush. It is one of their strengths. I think the Seahawks just try to get out of here with the win. They're not going to run up the score or anything. I see like maybe a 23-14 type of game. So give me the under in that one. And that is the trends parlay. We're due for a win. We almost had one last week, and then the Bills team total over just did not hit. They couldn't score at all against the Ravens. So that's what I got for the parlay. And now let's talk some side dishes. All right, before we get out of here, I just want to talk a couple sides that I like, little side dishes. By the way, leave a comment. Let me know your favorite side dish. I'm kind of a mac salad, mashed potato kind of guy. Anyways, I got 2 sides because I know some of you like to bet it. This isn't even on the spread. This is just a money line. Bills money line. I like it. Again, these are not official bets. Maybe I add one of these, but it's more just to kind of talk some more football. I just haven't liked what I've seen from the Texans all season. That run game is non-existent. Like we already just talked about, they're not making the big plays, which has really affected their offense. Playing against that too high safety look now of the Bills is going to be tough. They've won 3 games by a total of 12 points. I mean, we're talking about a Texans team that could easily be 1-3, 0-4. Those 3 wins, by the way, by 12 combined points came against Indy, Chicago, and Jacksonville. Yes, the same Jacksonville team that the Bills just put an absolute beatdown on. The only loss was against the only good team they faced this year, which was the Vikings, and they lost by 148 points. The Bills had their first hiccup last week. The weakness on defense showed, and some people were worried about their run defense, and the Ravens, obviously the number 1 rushing attack in the NFL. They absolutely just ran down their throat. But guess what? The Texans won't really be able to take advantage of that. They're 19th in rush yards per game and bottom half of the league in yards per attempt. And all those numbers are when week 1, Joe Mixon went off for 30 carries and 159 yards. They have done jack crap since then. It's been ugly. Josh Allen has a good against the spread record after a loss. With the Texans not getting much pressure on the quarterback as they did last season, I think the Bills are going to be able to wreak some havoc here in this one. I wish they kind of had better receivers, obviously, to take advantage of the weak secondary for the Texans, but I still think they can move the ball. And then the Texans' run defense also hasn't been as great as they used to be. Khalil Shakir, if he does play, that'd be a huge help. But I like the Bills to win this game as my first side dish. Second one, it gets ugly. We're ending ugly, guys. The Jaguars minus 2.5. This is an 0-4 team favored in Week 5. 0-4 team favored in Week 5. The Jags, if you really look at it, they are closer to being a 2-2 or 3-1. They're really close to being 2-2 or maybe even 3-1 this season. It has been some tough endings to a game, including last week versus the Texans. But Colts injuries, Jonathan Taylor, questionable. We don't know if it's going to be Anthony Richardson or my twin Joe Flacco. Honestly, if I'm betting on the Jaguars minus 2.5, I probably want Richardson because Flacco's at least consistent. He's not going to turn the ball over and all that. But Colts defense has not been good. They're not getting pressure on the quarterback. They don't have DeForest Buckner anymore since he's hurt. I think Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas have some big games here against this horrendous secondary of the Indianapolis Colts. Jobs are on the line, guys. Let's face it. Doug Peterson, other jobs, the jobs are on the line in Jacksonville. They are 0-4. Their season is not over yet because this division is not very good. They have a chance to get back into it, but it has to happen now or it could get pretty ugly in Jacksonville before they head to London, I believe, next week. So give me the winless Jags at minus 2.5. The Bills money line. Just a couple sides I like. Again, I didn't place these bets yet. I may add them. I'm still thinking about it, but I just wanted to talk some more games and talk through it with you guys. So that's what I got for all the football talk of week 5. Again, NFL player props will be out Friday night. But before we get out of here, let's check out the recap. It's team total central. Give me the Packers team total over 24.5. Raiders team total under 16.5. Baltimore, Cincy, both teams have scored 20 or more points. I also like Cincy team total over or just over in the full game as well. And then we ended with the trends parlay. Let's see if we can hit one. Quarter unit, not official. Bears money line under 47.5. Bills, Texans under 43.5. Seahawks, Giants with the NFL player props to come on Friday night. Let's see if we can stay hot there, including that ladder parlay again. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support. By the way, NHL starts like 7 a.m. my time on Friday. So be sure to go check out our first NHL Best Bets video. It is out now. So thanks again. I appreciate it. Hope you have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.